Good evening everyone, Daniel Miller here. How are you guys doing? Do you have a good day? Were you at work, in college or elsewhere? Did you actually get back home just now? Are you just about to play your favorite game? We are going to be doing a lengthy feedback on Anthem tonight. We had surprisingly a very busy broadcast last night, which I in fact intended to be just a resume of what was happening over the weekend, but so many people came in and lots of questions were asked, and I thought it would be a good idea to have several sessions during the week to air all pros and cons on Anthem demo, everything experienced during the weekend, because obviously all of us were given this VIP demo treatment, having sort of the priority access to experience this beautiful new BioWare product. And there were sort of mixed views on what happened, particularly on the technical front. But the session should really focus on the gameplay and all we experienced whilst we actually managed to get it to work. And as you know, there have been lots of postings on BioWare Twitter, and people expressed both their, positive comments and indeed the elation when they engaged with some of the characters and the open world, and also their concerns regarding very many technical issues which were persisting literally throughout the weekend. So first of all, we'll have a look at the news, what happened since Sunday, because obviously all of us were engaged in this VIP demo testing and doing the gameplay. And I have to say, first and foremost, for me, the demo was not just like an ordinary one. We had principally almost 8 hours of gameplay, which were taken from story missions, plus the mission called Stronghold, which is similar to Destiny raids. And I think overall beta testing of the game, rather than just entering a brief demo that gives you a taster, like for instance what we had with Resident Evil last week or a couple of weeks ago prior to the game release. So really we had plenty to experience really through the open world and some of the gaming, as well as this particular mission which is difficult, called Stronghold. And I was quite interested to see what the feedback would be on Monday and how everything would evolve, because there was a lot of negativity, particularly on Friday, coming the BioWare and EA way. But I think everyone became a bit more positive on Sunday. Some of the things began to work, and the enjoyment with the gameplay obviously was on the rise. So first of all, let's have a look at what's come out of BioWare. The live operations executive Chad Robertson had been responding throughout the weekend to everyone, and he also left quite a lengthy posting yesterday indicating that everything has been taken on board, that the BioWare team are looking closely at all ins and outs of the difficulties. And principally he said that it was an eventful VIP demo weekend for BioWare, and as he shared on Saturday, it did start a bit rocky, but he thought that some of the issues stabilized literally on Saturday, although they persisted on Friday, and then maintained it until they turned service off on Sunday evening. I'd be quite curious to hear from everyone, was this your experience as well? Were you having all these technical issues throughout the weekend, or just during the certain sections of it? Because for myself, I had been having certain difficulties literally throughout the weekend, and then towards the end of Sunday, so that would have been after 10 o'clock on Sunday UK time, things improved significantly. So there was little lag and the gameplay was made possible, and I was able to enjoy about 3 or 4 hours of the actual gameplay without any major interferences. Although he said this would have been happening probably from Saturday night. So I'd be quite curious and quite happy to hear from my community and all the other gamers worldwide whether this was also your experience. And hopefully, it was. Hopefully, Mr. Robertson was indeed right. He said that their team learned a ton about the game, about the service, and obviously, first and foremost, about the new Anthem community. He said their team was working really hard to ensure that everyone can enjoy the game exactly as they designed it. Indeed, this is a very ambitious project done by BioWare. As you know, it's the first major multiplayer game with all these ins and outs which previously were not encountered. And it's not surprising that once entering the multiplayer arena, there were some difficulties, but actually turned out to be very, very many. He said, "I'm particularly proud to be part of our amazing team across Austin and Edmonton." As you know, this is a joint cooperation of those two teams together. Their dedication and passion showed this weekend. He said that the war rooms in both locations were hotbeds of activity, literally 24/7 on all 3 days. Relentlessly they worked on everything, and they tried to resolve any issues that were coming in. Obviously many were of the technical nature, and indeed persisted. He said they also had really fantastic support from Electronic Arts and other partners. If you were to be looking at Mr. Robertson's blog, which is on BioWare website, you'll be able to see their teams working and discussing various issues and trying to resolve them. There are some pictures of their teams cooperating and indeed monitoring all the activity in Edmonton and Austin. So he said that thanks to the community members, he was very grateful to everyone who participated. And obviously all the comments and views that would have come in. They then got a long list of things that were addressed during the weekend, and quite a few are still being addressed for the next weekend's public demo. Because principally, as you know, we had the privilege of coming in as the first viewers to test the VIP demo, because obviously we either pre-ordered the game, or we simply were members or subscribers to Electronic Arts Origin program, which obviously gives us the facility through which we access the games live through EA portal. And in addition to that, there were a few people, like I say, quite a number, who were also brought in by their friends, because as you know, the game does have 4 players in a multiplayer arena, and all wear javelin suits. So if you're coming in as one person, let's say a single player, you can then invite 3 of your friends to basically construe that team, and the team is going to be then competing with all the incoming enemies. And the idea was that each person who bought the game in advance, i.e. pre-ordered, would be also offered special access codes, and those were then given to their friends, up to 3 friends, in order to basically make that team up and running. And this was happening, so lots of people would come in on those invitations, and I think some people probably also bought some of the codes or were given those codes for free. So actually the number of gamers in the arena was surpassing both the expectations and indeed what was originally designed for that first VIP weekend. And hearing that the team at BioWare indeed is tackling all these issues and working as hard as they can 24/7 is certainly encouraging, because my personal worry was that for the next weekend, where we are going to be having the open demo, meaning, you know, there will be, or it is very likely that the number of gamers coming in will be tenfold, or maybe, you know, 100 times bigger to what we had in the first weekend. There was certainly a great concern about those servers, whether they are going to be able to gamers, and also their behavior in the multiplayer arena. So he said that they had identified the following issues: entitlement bugs, and then server performance updates to address much of the rubber banding. Rubber banding was the main problem I had on PlayStation 4, both during my streams and when I was trying to play the game, obviously whilst not broadcasting. It was exactly the same problem. Rubber banding was persisting. What it means, the rubber banding, is when you are trying to kind of move from one position to another and you're being brought back to the same position. So on your screen, if you are obviously that player, you can see that you know, the character's going backwards and forwards, and everybody else who's watching in the game can see you're just standing. You're not moving anywhere. And that indeed is of concern and of bother if you are just trying to get to some place, and even more so if you are facing the enemy, because then you are simply cannon fodder. You're standing in the middle, you're not going anywhere, and the enemy can see you, spot you, and neutralize you rather quickly. And as you know, in Anthem we have very many very difficult enemies with precise weapons, so we can get killed rather fast if not moving around a lot. And also the other thing in Anthem, which we experienced with demo, is that if you are killed, if you are doing the multiplayer mission, if you're not playing just by yourself, you can't be respawned. You can't respawn by yourself. You have got to be waiting for your team member to revive you. Now this could take a bit of time, particularly if you are lagging behind, if you're being intercepted, and if your teammates are not nearby, or they perhaps even can't see you. So altogether, that is indeed of concern, and it was affecting my gameplay quite tremendously during the entire weekend. So I'm very glad that Mr. Robertson had singled this out as one of the major gameplay problems, which indeed it was. I was not happy with the fact that EA Help Desk had publicly stated it only on Sunday afternoon, although this was persisting literally since Friday morning and causing us a lot of difficulties with the gameplay. Then he said there will be, I said already, entitlement bugs and rubber banding, and then the third one was fixes for infinite loads and more being investigated. You see, infinite loads was the problem they did not anticipate, and they said it probably is going to be the most difficult problem to solve. They already confirmed that on Friday, indicating that this is something that had evolved during, the gameplay, and they didn't anticipate it, so I'm not sure what was causing it, but they did state that the infinite loading screen is likely to be the most difficult area to tackle, and perhaps the area which may be still persisting to a degree, perhaps not with such very lengthy loads. And I have to say that for myself, as a Twitch broadcaster, the infinite loads were causing phenomenal difficulties. The reason for that is quite simple. In order to get somebody to pursue a mission or get to another level, one had to be restarting the game, and obviously you know that if you are a broadcaster, this means you have to discontinue your broadcast and restarting both the broadcast and the game another time, which means if there are continuous infinite screens, you may have to be doing that like 20, 30, 50 different times, and that indeed is causing them many practical difficulties, and obviously rather emotional response from the viewers, and literally interfering with everyone. Then he said the problem number 4 was platform bugs to validate Javelin unlocks. So some people couldn't really unlock certain Javelin suits, evidently. And then indeed client and platform login bugs. A lot of people on Friday couldn't get in at all. I've heard even from some people on Sunday that on Xbox they couldn't get in even on Sunday afternoon. Not sure really what could be causing that sort of login difficulty, but they assured us that all of that is going to be resolved thanks to the community members and people reporting all the difficulties, and the vast majority of the responses indeed were polite and civilized. The Anthem Twitter as well as the one of BioWare were absolutely inundated with an enormous amount of concerns coming from very many users worldwide. And in fact, when you look at some of the stats coming in at the end of the weekend, it's just literally staggering numbers. By the way it looks, it may well be a game that actually reached the record of the number of gamers coming in to test it, to participate in such VIP demo. But on the other hand, it was one of the most unsuccessful demo launches because of all these technical difficulties. I think a lot of people had patience and indeed were waiting for BioWare to intervene and resolve those issues, but nobody expected that many people to be coming in, because considering that this was the VIP demo and obviously a kind of activity which was going to be given as privilege to those who pre-ordered, well, I certainly think that the numbers had surpassed any expectation. So definitely one can really look forward to the actual game launch and the number of purchases near the date, if everything is to go well next weekend. So he said that they are at BioWare doing more skill testing this week, and particularly to be ready for the opening Russia players on Friday, and they will be verifying that they have got all those infinite load screen problems improved and resolved, the latter of which was a primary frustration for many players. Absolutely true, and there's nothing more frustrating than if you were to be moving to another mission, or you had the infinite loading screen coming up halfway to the mission, then indeed you were just stuck. You had to be restarting, and you could not collect your experience points or any other loot which was given to you as a result. So it meant constant replay and your inability to progress forward in the game. He said that they're also preparing for many weeks for their full launch, and the full launch is obviously on the 22nd of February, and that version of the game already has a long list of things that were already fixed, and obviously the full game is going to be operating quite differently to the demo. So they said that list included weapons with 0% infusions, weapons with bonus that applies to different javelins, plot integrity, stroke party gather issues, changes the javelin unlock behavior, fixes for losing experience point at the end of some expeditions, so that would be game crashing, I believe, performance improvements, additional stability fixes, the most important section, which is called a social hub, the launch bay, which has been introduced and mentioned during the last week as something that literally came directly from the community. Well, the requests came from the community, and then obviously BioWare jumped in to create that social space. So it's going to be similar to the terrace in the tower if you play Destiny, if you're a Destiny gamer, where many players can come in and then basically chat or exhibit different bits of kit which they have, and the various other things such as dances or, you know, gatherings, and ideal really for your party to be actually fully up and running, and indeed an ideal way of bringing in new friends to become your members or followers, or indeed some of those who will be then participating in strikes and rare catching outfits, and therefore this could be seen as potentially interesting and inviting. On the other hand, there could be also members with unusual names or certain kinds of dances and activities which are drawing attention, and all of that is then very much noticed and contributes to the social aspects of the game, bringing in everybody from the community together. And he also said there are some other issues which he is not going to be listing, and I'm certainly hoping that all attention is going to be given to those as we speak. So this was all, well, this was his dedication to those technical issues, and he then sort of moved on to the analysis of the gameplay. Unfortunately, because of so many technical issues, the enjoyment of the gameplay and the feedback on it was to a degree diminished, and I think that's not good. And I certainly will be running my feedback sessions this week in order to get as much feedback on the gameplay from my community and people who are, you know, coming to the channel, people who are engaging in our, you know, question and answer sessions, because the gameplay is what really counts at the end of the day. And you know, that's really, I mean, when the game was fully functioning towards the end of Sunday, I just loved it. There was so many different aspects of it, even sort of hard to name because there were so many. And you know, from the open world to the character mobility, to the aiming, the choice of weapons, the use of subclass, the types of enemies you faced, the co-op, in fact, the way people work together. I played with one team literally on the spot. People just obviously brought in by the game, and we worked perfectly together. It was tremendous. There's one character waiting for me to use my subclass, and he was Colossus, and then he'd be firing. The Ranger was watching our back. It just seemed literally terrific. And that's exactly what Anthem is going to be about. You know, it's like really massive, great mobility of all characters and cooperative team membership. So really a lot to look forward to. So he said, also reflected, overall, we, meaning the BioWare, do remain humbled by the response from players and appreciate the support from the community. One of my favorite experiences, said, from the weekend was checking out all of your fantastic screenshots, video clips, streams, and all other amazing content. And that's in addition to all of your direct feedback. Well, I have to say that on my forums, I had an enormous number of screenshots and video clips and, you know, bits and pieces. And you know, really quite frankly, it was astonishing the number of people who engaged with everything that was Anthem related during the weekend. It just seemed like everything else stopped. Everyone was doing Anthem, and I guess any game developer wants to see that with such a massive big game, and you know, prior to its launch. So that was all very good, and also they quite like the fact that people engaged on good and bad, and the vast majority of messages coming in were quite polite and civilized, although there were some threatening ones as well, as always, but you know, that was insignificant compared to all the other valuable input. And he said that everyone from BioWare is indeed thanking the community and the new members. I guess the community consists of everyone who loved previous massive big BioWare games such as Mass Effect Trilogy, which is one of the best games ever made on RPG front, then Dragon Age, which obviously you could say it's similar to the Elder Scrolls saga, but very different at the same time, and therefore I guess comprising the concept of Mass Effect and you know, presenting it in a very, very different kind of the distant world environments. And you know, really people who are also definitely great sci-fi shooter fans, people who play Dead Space and Alien, and most importantly people who are the true hardcore veterans of Destiny, because Anthem was expected to be to a degree similar, or you know, with some sort of connecting points. And after the gameplay, I can say that Anthem is remaining, it's coming out to be a totally original game that actually maybe feels a bit more kind of inclined towards Mass Effect than Destiny. So that would have been my personal verdict. So just to elaborate on what one of the team leaders, Mr. Robertson, said. He said he thanked everybody from the community. He said it was absolutely incredible to think that BioWare had nearly 9 million hours of gameplay. 9 million hours, just this 9 million hours of gameplay across the 2.5 days that the demo was open. So that's astonishing. Literally, that 9 million hours spent on gameplay within those 2.5 days is you know, second to none, really. In the same time, over 1 million strongholds were completed, and strongholds are quite difficult, you know, so maybe they made strongholds a bit easier for the demo, I don't really know. But I actually find, unless I was there with the team of 4, stronghold missions were really, really tricky. And he also said that 2 million grabbits were killed, and he said, well, why on earth was this happening? Because obviously grabbits were not enemy. And you know, everyone seemed to have been very, very trigger happy. So to conclude, he said that he really is looking forward to the open demo weekend starting this Friday, and then also having more players to join in. Obviously there will be many more people joining in without any doubt, because obviously the first weekend was just basically geared towards those who pre-ordered, and they hope to see everybody from the VIP demo return. I can certainly say that I will be returning, because I still want to be completing my missions and enjoying and trying out indeed other 2 Javelin suits. I tried only 2, and then there's a see in the game. And make sure you stick around for Sunday afternoon, because you will see a glimpse of some of the cool things we'll be doing in the future. So I take it that his last comment would mean on Sunday afternoon we'll be given something extra, and we'll be given either some postings or some introduction to what is to happen with Anthem as it unravels. One of the lead producers, Sila Costa, had said that one of the first things to happen is basically cross-platform access, and I really applaud you know, to that intention. I think it will bring all the community members together into one arena, and that is going to make a very, very big difference. I think in terms of its playability, we've seen that on Destiny, when people come in on different platforms, then you will have sometimes on certain nights people doing PlayStation, and on other nights people doing PC, and they couldn't get in the same arena. And obviously, according to what we've heard, Anthem is going to have this resolved. So he ended by saying, stronger together, Chad Robertson. And indeed, I agree with that. We all are always stronger together. I apologize for not responding to the incoming messages, because I was obviously elaborating on all set from BioWare, and I have some other bits of news as well to tell you. One lot is from Eurogamer, and the other is literally some of the comments that Casey Hudson made. But now I'll have a look at the comments. Thanks very much to Radical Gaming for coming in and for watching this Q&A session. Thank you for coming, sir. Really appreciate it, and thank you for being our new community member. Radical Gaming said, I heard they didn't have all Javelins available in demo. Well, I can certainly tell you that initially we were to be accessing 2 Javelins, and this would have been on Friday and Saturday. But due to the technical problems, they basically unlocked the rest. So if somebody had fewer technical difficulties in accessing the game on Saturday and Sunday, particularly on Sunday, I think from about midday they were able to access all 4 Javelin suits and try them at least for one mission to see what what the difference would be. And I tried 2 of them, but unfortunately I could not get the technical issues to go away, and they persisted literally throughout Sunday. Therefore the game functioned well only after about 10 o'clock at night. so I had about 4 hours of smooth gameplay, which indeed was very, very enjoyable, and then I was able to try another suit. Other people tried maybe all of those 4 suits, and they were basically timing them, you know, 1 suit per mission. Therefore it was, I guess, better and easier for them to compare. So I can only tell you that which is basically offered by default. And then I tried also the other called Storm, which I really liked. It looked a bit like the Hunter character in Destiny, but it had a very different type of mobility compared to Ranger, and there was a different method of flying which this character could also deploy, and I thought that was very, very good. The types of weapons and subclasses used were different, so, you know, really beautifully construed, and I think it's going to be absolutely magnificent in the game. Radical Gaming says, I pre-ordered but didn't get to play because I was out of town. Well, you know, wonderful, great you pre-ordered, and you will be able to engage with the game, I think, on the 22nd of February. If I understood correctly from BioWare or from Electronic Arts, there's going to be a group of players having even an earlier access if they're subscribed to the Electronic Arts Origins, and therefore they would be able to access the game even a week in advance on the 15th. I'm not 100% sure whether this is true, and I have seen those postings on some of the forums, and they will need to be kind of double checked and verified, because at the end of the day that would mean an extra subscription to another service provided by Electronic Arts, you know, and everybody else is obviously pre-ordering. And as I said in my previous broadcasts, what we'll have here on this channel is basically the broadcasts of Anthem, which are going to be done from the word go on the Legion of Dawn special edition, which is the best edition that is being presently offered. So I really look forward to that, and also really look forward to that cross-platform play. I think it will make a big difference if that starts kind of close to the release date, maybe not within the first week, but within the first month or so. It will make really the community grow much stronger, much faster, and I don't really think that there will be any major issues with the actual controls, you know, because it seemed to me that Anthem had this kind of multitude of different abilities and types of entrances to the game and gameplay, so you can do lots of different things and try them in different ways. It is not necessarily going to be just based on shooting, and I think this is where the difference is compared to some of the other competitive shooters, where you really are focused on shooting and basically nothing else, or your shooting skills, the use of the weapons, and, you know, stealth techniques and that sort of thing. Anthem will have lots of different things for you, and from what I gather so far, it will all depend on the strategy or the technique by which somebody wants to enter this world. Somebody may well be a bit arrogant and abrasive in comments and views when talking to various characters, therefore they'll be given different types of missions, and the challenges will be obviously tailored to that. Other people may remain polite and civilized, and again the missions coming their way and the conversations will be connected to that sort of behavior. So, you know, similar to Mass Effect, we are likely to be facing lots of challenges dependent on how we actually enter the game and what we do. It's very, very good. I really like the idea. And Matthias is here as well. Oh, hello Matthias, how are you doing? You're still enjoying Resident Evil 2 remake and streaming it, and how's it going so far? I've not had, unfortunately, time to be looking at the stream and checking out anything else which was non-Anthem related, but quite curious to hear whether you're enjoying it and loving it as much as you did on the first night. So, coming back to news on Anthem, we have some news coming from Casey Hudson, and he said that he was kind of concerned about the number of comments related to the mobility in Fort Tarsis. Fort Tarsis is the base, similar to the tower in Destiny, and this is where you are sort of talking to all these different characters and then donning your Javelin suit. And he said lots of people complained that the mobility of the lead character was far too slow. It was taking them too long to get from one place to another. I personally didn't feel that, but then again, you know, people may prefer to be sprinting, racing, or flying to the Javelin suit without actually wanting to talk to many characters in there. The idea originally was to make sure that when you are passing certain areas, you kind of look around and you want to see whether any of those guys are going to talk to you, because there are many characters out there, many characters, and quite a few already on the demo were accessible for conversations, but there are also the other ones who are just sort of sitting and throwing some comments at you. But at the end of the day, there will be some of those characters enabled as you progress in the game. They will get some extra functions and abilities, and they'll be allocating certain tasks. So Casey Hudson said that he will be enabling a sprint button, and that is going to be back in the main game on the launch day. So they're tweaking it already. All of us, playing the character in 4 tasks, then if we want to, we'll be able to sprint from one place to another. And so really what's been reported, that lots of grievances expressed by many people who played the demo over the weekend, and really it's quite surprising that one of them related to the character's movement speed while exploring tasks, and Anthem's story focused single-player HQ experience entirely from a first-person perspective. I didn't say that, or didn't expose that during the previous broadcast. Anthem does have this sort of interesting combination of your first-person exploration of your base and conversations you have with all the characters, and then once you are in the arena where the firefights take place, you're no longer having a POV, so you are walking that character, very similar to Mass Effect, and that is going to be, I guess, dividing the community at the end of the day. Some people love it and others will have some concerns, but it worked very well on the demo. And they said that players who managed to get into the BioWare's closed demo were surprised to learn that the character was limited to walking pace at all times, with no sprint button to speed them up on command. And also this aggrieved quite a few people who just wanted to get into the Javelin as quickly as possible. But obviously Mark Dara recently said in an interview that this was an intentional design decision to make players feel a little bit underpowered, so really felt that strong difference between out of the suit and in the suit. Well, I think it's quite a good idea, and also I think it's very important that people don't race to the base, because they'll miss out on certain clues. And for all of you who are Mass Effect Trilogy fans and long-term players, you will know that there are so many sub-quests which you can acquire if you talk to everyone. So if you're racing it, then obviously you're missing out on the sub-quests, and the game is then progressing in a very different direction. On the menu, you have a section called Library, and Library is telling you everything about every single bit in Anthem. That includes all sorts of friends and foes, and different kinds of items which you can pick up, your weaponry, the open world locations, you name it. And Library is full of facts and articles, and it's very important that every gamer kind of goes through it and reads it. Maybe not at the beginning, but as you're progressing, when you're entering a mission, when you're being allocated a task, you want to find out more about the likely enemies, about the locations. You want to find out what's like to be hiding in there. You want to find out whether there are certain buildings which are fortified, and all of that is very beautifully described in Library. I remember people said that in Mass Effect the library there was very detailed with a lot of information to take on board, but if you take it in chunks, then obviously it helps with your gameplay, and it gives you a lot more knowledge and skill as you're pursuing various missions. And they also said that players who managed to get into BioWare's closed demo were surprised to learn that the character was limited to walking pace at all times, so there was no acceleration, with no sprint button to speed them up on command. And this sort of literally annoyed quite a few people who just wanted to get teeth into Javelin as quickly as possible. And obviously Anthem executive producer also said that they're looking into this and they're trying to resolve it. So he said also that they wanted it to feel like walking. If you look at most video games, you're sprinting everywhere, and we wanted to give everybody a jetpack machine for when you're out in the world, and they really wanted it to feel like you're just a person walking around, and now you're just a person in Iron Man armor. So I can understand the perspective. You really want to have the difference in the adrenaline levels, which you will be hosting obviously when getting into firefights. And then once you're in the base, it's similar to what I do with my characters in Destiny. At the end of those firefights, I want my character to be relaxed, you know, to be seated somewhere. I want him to be looking at the picture postcard scenery in order to gather his thoughts. So it's one of those ideas. But you know, even so, the studio has clearly had lots of fan feedback about the lack of sprint button in Tarsis, and therefore the team decided they'll make the appropriate changes in time for the Anthem's full release. So I just want to stress this. The sprinting button will not be enabled for the next weekend. So please do not expect that to be done. It's not going to be happening. The sprinting button is going to be enabled for the full game launch on the 22nd of February. It's obviously understandable. It'll take a bit of time to tweak that, right? So that is going to be accessible on the 22nd of February. And that indeed has been confirmed by the role boss, Casey Hudson, when he was doing some recent interviews. And when asked about the sprint situation, Hudson explained that there was a run speed that was in the game, and then for some reason it was out of the game when that particular build, the VIP demo build, was made. So for whatever reason they extracted it, maybe to make it less taxing on the server. So I don't know, really hard to tell. But there must have been a technical reason, because obviously even in the game it was made accessible. So they extracted that for the demo for some reasons even unknown to Mr. Hudson. And he said it is back in the main game anyway. So there you go. So once we are able to play the game on February 22nd, we are going to be able to run. And then obviously if we are like to be stuck at walking speed for the third and final demo of the game, well, you can just simply grin and bear it and then wait for the 22nd of February. And better yet, this is not going to be the only you know, BioWare kind of fixing problem at the moment, because the studio is now working 24/7 to resolve all the technical issues, because obviously many of those are experienced by most gamers. So actually you could see both Casey Hudson and Mike Dara had been giving a lot of attention to all the incoming feedback, and they're tackling and dealing with every one of those. And as you could see, they singled out several problems which are affecting all platforms, and they're hoping that some of those are certainly going to be at least minimized for the next weekend's demo. And then in addition to that, they're hoping that everything is going to be absolutely spot on once we get to the 22nd of February. I've seen that Matthias was writing a few messages as well. Let's just have a look. I asked Matthias about Resident Evil 2 Remake, the game he purchased, pre-ordered, played the stream already on Friday, and carried on obviously with streams. Matthias says that he is still loving Resident Evil Remake, and he says, I beat Leon A, Claire B, for Survivor, and I'll be starting Claire A and Leon B tonight or tomorrow. Well, wonderful. That sounds like a massive progression in the game, and I'm so glad to hear that you are loving it and enjoying it. In fact, I did have quite a few people coming in during the weekend whilst I was doing my stream and indicating that they're loving Resident Evil, and Anthem obviously is just completely messed up on the technical front, and after not being able to get in a game, or after they had a lot of rubber banding, they would just simply quit playing Anthem demo and they would go to Resident Evil. And as you know, Resident Evil had its major launch on Friday, so it's a really beautiful, brand new, hot Sony PlayStation game, which also has been released on other platforms as well, should you wish to play it on PC or on Xbox. And Matthias is asking whether I'm okay, because I've said a few things several times. Well, I mean, I have a lot of material to go through here, which is Anthem related. and basically some of it appears to be a bit repetitive because obviously lots of news which have come in are focused on these technical issues. And we have also another report which has come from Eurogamer, and basically Anthem's trial version will be returning this weekend, and I guess everybody's really looking forward to see it because the open weekend is going to be providing access to everyone. And we are all now hoping that things are going to work out fine at the end of the weekend. And what's particularly interesting is that at the end of the blog, which I've seen on BioWare website, they also indicated that they will have a kind of a teaser taster at the end of this second weekend with several new things to come. So it's quite interesting to see what news we are likely to get. And also I'm quite curious to see whether they will be introducing the cross-platform play or something else which was mentioned during the world premiere by IGN. And then they're all very, very happy with the number of gamers that have come in, and also they said that everybody is now going to be focused on the next weekend. And also they've been talking quite a lot about this Launch Bay. So Launch Bay is going to be a social hub for up to 16 players, which are basically added there in response to fan feedback. A lot of people want to have that social space, and that indeed has been now confirmed. So there we go, we have it all here, and now open the forum for the gamer feedback and for people to tell me what they experienced and what their pros and cons were, what they liked about Anthem demo in terms of the gameplay, and also what bothered them the most in terms of the technical issues. I'd be quite curious to hear also what issues there are platform related, because it's possible that rubber banding was more of a specific PlayStation 4 problem than, for instance, the login issues which were persisting on Xbox. So it'd be interesting to hear from everyone on that. I'm very glad to hear that Matthias is loving his Resident Evil 2. Truly wonderful game. I played the demo and did not manage to finish it because unwisely I forgot that it was one-shot demo and kind of misunderstood the whole idea, and I thought maybe it was important I don't get killed, and I was exploring every single corner of that massive big building, and then the demo was finished without me actually completing it. I've heard through various online magazines that some people had completed some of the some sections within 3 minutes. It's like the whole demo finished in 3 minutes. Well, so I had 30 minutes and I was still lagging behind, but there you have it. For myself, probably most important then to buy the game and then enjoy it in full. Well, I can just ask all my viewers and the community members to be also going to Matthias's stream. Matthias is currently streaming Resident Evil 2 Remake, and he had several streams already. So if you want to find out what the game's like, if you want to ask questions, if you want to participate, well, Matthias is running his own stream on his own channel, and I'd just like to invite everyone to visit and indeed to view the content, and then also provide comments and views and participate, because as you know, online gaming is all about connectivity and communication, and I think Anthem as a major multiplayer game to come out of BioWare is definitely providing us with lots of goodies in respect of the both, and we are likely to be seeing a lot of members coming in from other affiliated communities and then connecting through the multiplayer gameplay. Yesterday we had very many people coming in and discussing Anthem, and then providing us with some questions and answers and that. I was quite surprised because I just intended to provide a very brief review on like a recap of the weekend, and then I had to open it to discussion because there were so many people here. Tonight is less busy. I don't know why. Maybe people are not no longer as excited, because obviously everyone was doing it on the weekend, and then Monday is the first day after, and maybe people read the news already that there's going to be a sprint button and all the other enhancements. So quite curious to hear from everyone who's watching at the moment. Is there anyone out there watching and listening who had enjoyed the VIP demo, and is there anybody who was experiencing some technical difficulties, because they have been obviously reported everywhere. And I can certainly tell you I had a lot of difficulty with that lag. There were several of my community members coming in during the weekend and saying, well, your internet connection doesn't seem to be working, there's a problem with your router or something like that. And this was not the case. The case was really the major problem with well, whatever was causing it, you know, in the game. And I was glad to see that BioWare also singled out that as one of the major problems. And you know, it was only singled out on Sunday afternoon. Yeah, Sunday afternoon, the US time, whilst I talked about it already on Friday. And anyone who watched my stream, my goodness, they would have been absolutely, you know, the patience would have been tested, because that character was just going backwards and forwards, and you know, couldn't get anywhere really. But by saying that, on Sunday night the gameplay was smooth, and I was able to get to certain areas and enjoy some of the missions. The trouble there was that the missions were then not completed. I would be coming to the end of my stronghold battle, and just before the big beast was killed, the game crashed. And I think 2 or 3 times where I was given, you know, at the end, when the game's completed, you get a menu screen of all the achievements, and they're applicable to every single team member. And then once I got there, and then as I was about to be reading it, the game crashed, and the experience points didn't register, and nor did the loot or anything else I collected. But, you know, such is life, where things don't work out on the technical front. Still we have, what, about 3 weeks left, 3.5 weeks, before the game is fully released on 22nd of February. So we're hoping that the guys at BioWare will be indeed resolving those problems. Everybody said to them that it was to do with the servers, but they responded within the first couple of hours saying that they have many servers turned on and functioning, and they said it was not really server related, but rather all to do with player behavior, or the sheer numbers of gamers that would have come in. So there you have it. So take it that all the guys watching and listening to my broadcast have not played the demo. Nobody had any problems. Nobody enjoyed the game. It's hard to tell, really. I think that the overall feedback on gameplay was very positive. I think the only concern, well, the major concern that people expressed was about that speed at 4 Tarsis. I've not heard anything else through other forums, which would be like a complaint and game related. And obviously people migrated from Mass Effect community, that they would have recognized many similarities. Even the aiming and the way you access your menu and your maps, very similar. It blends in with the knowledge and experience you would have had with your Mass Effect 3 world, so Mass Effect Trilogy world, I mean. And really absolutely terrific. And it's evident that their time is going to be spent still on Anthem for months to come. A lot of people ask me the question, well, what's happening with Dragon Age? Because during the Game Awards last year in November, Casey Hudson indicated they're already working on Dragon Age, the next installment of the game. But the game is kind of, you know, not come out within the next year or two, so plenty of resources from BioWare will be allocated to deal with Anthem. And I'm personally quite curious to see whether they are to take the direction of Bungie with Season Pass, and then we are unlikely to see Anthem Trilogy, but you know, we can sort of watch Anthem seasons, and each season will bring us another selection of story missions and all the other things which are to be happening here, and principally are to be game related. So I'm really quite curious and interested to see how this is to be progressing. And crossplay, I think that for me is also very important. I know that some of my community members will disagree with this, and I had some you know, heated discussions here in my broadcast on whether or not that is seen as a good thing. But I think it's very much dependent on the game. You know, for certain games like PUBG, this may not be a good thing, because with precise aiming, somebody fully in control of keyboard on the PC may have advantage over somebody who's playing it on tablet or on console. But I don't think that for the games like Elder Scrolls Online or Anthem, this would be of major concern. So it's all down to the actual gameplay as well. I'm also fairly elated with the number of postings I've seen on Twitter, and just to kind of draw your attention to my Twitter as well, I did post quite a few screenshots of my gameplay, and I posted about a dozen different videos, and these videos are basically the exclusive VIP demo gameplay. They include some of the missions, and they include the major attack on the stronghold, where we are trying to defeat that swarm tyrant. And the swarm tyrant is a very nasty beast, resembling some sort of weird fly, and very, very hard to kill. And swarm tyrant is protected by lots of kind of small enemies in there, lots of different creatures which are continuously attacking us. And I figured out that one of the tactics was to be destroying their eggs first, because as we are trying to kill this swarm tyrant, they keep springing up from those eggs, and there are several lengthy tunnels which have plenty of eggs in them. So it may well be that destroying the eggs first would be a good way of minimizing the likely influx of crabs and all other kinds of massive big insects which are deadly to us all. Javelin suits are helping, but these guys are really very, very powerful. And if anyone watched some of my clips, then you get really quite a good idea on that. So if you were to be going to my Twitter, you are going to be able to access lots of different screenshots and about a dozen videos. Those videos are roughly between 60 seconds and 90 seconds long, and they will give you a very good image of what this gameplay in Anthem looks like, and you get a flavor of those firefights and the intensity, and indeed you'll get some good pictures on some of the enemies. They in fact have you could say 3 different levels of enemy soldiers. One is very easy to kill even with your subclass, the other is medium, and the third one is very hard to kill. So the very hard to kill, they are similar to what we have in Destiny as lieutenants and captains, and some of the mini bosses in there, yellow bar enemies so to speak. And I was having some success when using my subclass, and then subclass, let's say with my storm, was freezing the enemy, and then after they were frozen temporarily I used an automatic weapon, and then they were sort of cracking, and that seemed to work quite well. So I think the strategy is going to be also very important in Anthem. One will have to be considering how to attack certain enemies, and obviously we were just playing one section related to one planet, but there may well be many other planets with lots of different enemies waiting for us. So having a different strategy is likely to be very important. But what I like really from the gameplay, I just elaborate on this, is first of all, it does remind me of Mass Effect, one of my favorite games. Secondly, it provides us with this exploration of the open world. There are lots of different corners which you can explore, and in fact on Saturday, although I was pursuing a story mission, I just went around and had a look at everything, and that was terrific. And I was able to do that because at that point the game didn't bring me into a multiplayer arena. I was just playing by myself, and then I could just walk and explore everything, and that was terrific, and it did last for quite a while. And the only problem there was obviously that rubber banding and slowing down me and all of the tasks which I want to complete there by exploring the area. Secondly, what I like is the immaculate attention given to detail. So even when you're in the wild, you can see every single bit on the floor, in the grass or anywhere, and the enemies are beautifully designed, and Fortas is massive with lots of different characters. I like the fact we'll be able to speak to very many of them, and there's going to be a lot of RPG element and dialogue. And I just want to clarify something. There have been some reports online that Anthem will have very little RPG element. I think it's generally misunderstood. Anthem will have a lot of RPG element, but when you're asking questions, then you will not have too many options given to you, So for instance, in Mass Effect, you will have 5 different answers, or the likely answers, which will be confirming your character or types of responses which you are giving. In this instance, during the demo, they were giving just 2 options. So anybody I talked to, I had 2 different options with answers which were quite polarized. One was a bit abrasive, the other one was very polite, to sort of describe it roughly. And I really like the fact that this is going to make a major difference. So if you are entering 4 tasks at the beginning and you're attempting to play one of the missions, you will automatically feel in a different, very specific Anthem world. This will obviously divorce the notions or the expectations that Anthem will be very similar to Destiny. It doesn't feel similar to Destiny at all. I mean, as you know, I already streamed more than 300 hours of Destiny on Twitch, and I played it obviously quite a bit. So I have a very good flavour of the game, and also on all 3 characters. Anthem is nothing like that. Nothing like that. It's just, from the word go, you are in a different world and you are having a different kind of technique on gameplay. Tarboy is here. Hello Tarboy, how are you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for being a member of our community. And Tarboy is asking, can I play the demo? Well, the answer is very simple. Yes, you are going to be able to play the demo, but you will be able to do so on Friday. And I can tell you that on Friday, you will not need PlayStation Plus, you will not need Xbox Live Gold. You will be able just to download the demo and play it wherever you are on any platform you want. And those platforms will be PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. I'm not exactly sure on the exact timing on Friday, but I think it's likely to be somewhere midday. I've seen some indications that the demo testing might start, the open demo might start at 5 o'clock PM, the UK time, but I'm not certain. I think considering the trouble we had on Friday, last Friday, it is likely to start much earlier. And as you could see, they had really tried to please the community by unlocking all 4 Javelin suits on Sunday. They've given some extra skins as well, which people can use. They said for anybody or everyone who has been testing the VIP demo during the weekend, there will be some extra goodies provided as well. I'm not sure what these are likely to be. And I certainly could see that the BioWare team were doing everything possible to accommodate incoming requests, and really what they didn't want to happen was that many people would just simply cancel their orders, or decide not they just decide not to play the game or not to purchase it. This is something that they absolutely did not want to see, which is obviously understandable. And I also said to everyone, please do not cancel the orders, because it is expected, if you're having such a massive big game, that there will be some technical issues. And at the end of the day, this was just a demo. This is not your main game. The main game may well feel completely different. Just bear with me. I need to look at some of the messages coming in from on other platforms. I'll be back very shortly. My friends, I'm back, and thank you for your patience. I was just literally looking at some questions that were coming in through other platforms, and yet again I can just direct you to my Twitter. On my Twitter I have about 40, I think, different postings which are Anthem related. They include screenshots and short video clips of the weekend gameplay. And if there's one thing I really want to describe to you, and something I'm very, very pleased with, is that once I posted my feedback on Anthem literally to my Twitter, very quickly, very shortly, I had some responses from BioWare. And one of the lead producers liked my comments, and he responded to the feedback immediately, literally within minutes. And this was very, very encouraging, indicating that everyone from the team is literally watching for whatever comes in. If you tagged your feedback just to BioWare, then perhaps the response will be somewhat slower, because BioWare obviously will be receiving on that tag many, many responses. But if you were to be posting your comments or tagging them to one of the team leaders or the game director, one of the key people in the team, then they will respond to you. And I would invite everybody who played the demo of the weekend to do that. Make your comments known. Make sure that people listen to yourselves and to everything you experience, but always make it like literally short, crisp and clear, and concise and polite. Make sure that the comments are not stirring up any negative feelings or provide any degree of negativity. You can always describe what you liked and what you disliked and what your concerns are, but I think everybody who has been doing the demo the weekend can do that, and there's nothing better and more rewarding than when you tag your responses to the key people and they get back to you straight away. Just remember that, it's very important. I know lots of my associates and colleagues frequently say, well, just like a drop in the ocean, who on earth is going to read my comments? The fact is, if you are directing those comments to the right source, they are going to be responding. And don't forget, BioWare or Bungie or any of the Bethesda, Capcom, the big companies, they're all dependent on the community. And if they were simply to be ignoring everyone and not taking any of those comments on board, then they'd be literally bankrupted within days. And it's good to see that they really singled out all technical problems on the blogs and responded to them quite fast. So there was no atmosphere of denial, which is sometimes the case with publishers. No, it's nothing to do with us and something we couldn't resolve and that sort of thing. It's very responsive and very much in tune with the community, and it's absolutely great to see that they're trying to do everything possible, and also that they provided some extras. I think considering the demo was to be allowing us to be trying just 2 javelin suits, then on Sunday we could try all 4. That was very good. It's giving us an extra add-on. And I unfortunately was not able to try all 4, but certainly on those 2 I tried were, really good experiences. So that literally enables you to be having a lot of game replay, and if you are considering your team, then sometimes it can be Storm, and other times it can be Colossus, or Ranger, and you can try out all these different abilities, and doing it in a multiplayer fashion with everyone else is certainly going to be very progressive and very enjoyable. I think the other thing which I forgot to mention earlier, my experience of the demo was that it appeared to be a massive demo, right? So you had a lot of content and lots of options were disabled because this was the demo, right? And when you were clicking on certain characters or options, like for instance, you were collecting certain items which you found somewhere in Full Tarsus, you get the message saying it's not going to work in a demo, it will work when you play the full game. And I thought that was terrific. And I like the idea of any demo being so massive. Most of the times you get very short demos which are just a small taster. In here, in fact, they've given us several story missions and then the option to be trying out what this attack on Stronghold is going to be, and in fact it's lengthy. It's complicated. There are lots of enemies in there and one can't do it either easily or by himself. And I also quite like the idea of being able to tease out the single player element as well as the multiplayer. There were some concerns launched and directed at BioWare because of that respawning disability, right? The fact that if you were playing it together in a team, you couldn't respawn and you had to be waiting for somebody else to revive you. considering how big the open world is, unless they get a clear notification that you are needing that, they may not always realize. You know, I wasn't quite sure how that worked on the technical front, because I did get, you know, I was killed a few times, and my teammates were not quite close to me, and it did take a long while for them to kind of figure that I was to be revived. Maybe because they were all newbies like myself, but I thought it was more to do with the fact they couldn't see that I was dead, or there was no message, or, you know, a character or something telling them you need to revive your teammate. And that was obviously one of the issues that was transpiring, and indeed was a concern. And it was reported on various forums, and I've seen it also that one of the team leaders picked up on that. He said, well, they'll look into that. And I'm not sure whether this non-respawning is just for these stronghold missions, or whether this is also present within the story missions. I don't know. I've not experienced it long enough to be able to tell. But just coming back to some facts, if anyone is wondering as to why the Anthem demo is not operating right now, and why I'm doing this sort of feedback and Q&A session, well, the reason is quite simple. We had 3 days of the AP demo testing, which was the last weekend, and then they switched off the servers on Sunday night, and the next big open demo testing is going to start this coming weekend. So it will be on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. The other important thing for everyone who was with us on the weekend to know and to remember is as follows. Everything you achieved during the weekend is saved on the server. So your levels, your experience points, your weapons, everything you collected is all there. And once we resume with demoing on the next weekend, all of that can be used. It will all count, right? So that's important. You'll be not starting from scratch again on this second week of demoing. All results are going to be preserved and saved. However, once we come to the end of Sunday, the servers are going to be switched off, and everything achieved on the demo will no longer be accessible or available for anyone who is going to be doing the full game. So the full game on the 22nd of February will start from scratch. So whatever has been achieved in demo will not count for the full game. The reason is simple. This demo is quite different to the actual game. It may represent certain sections of it, but the final version of it will be considerably different to what we've seen so far. And therefore, we are able to save the progress for the demo alone, but we are not going to be able to use it for the full game. So that's important to remember, because some people might be venting out their frustration. Why did I, use this and that? And also in the demo, we are basically accessing the character on the level 10, and we can increase the level to the level 15. So principally from 10 to 15 is the increase, and that's what we are doing in the demo. Well, I just hope that people enjoyed what they've seen. I hope they enjoy the gameplay, and hopefully they find it as exciting and as astonishing as myself. I have to say I'm slightly biased towards BioWare, because I always loved their RPGs. I'm a very, very great fan of all of their games over the last 15, 17 years, and played all of them, loved them. And in fact, yesterday I had a few people coming in and mentioning some stories which are Dragon Age related, and I think Dragon Age also is an incredible game, and if you had not played particularly the Dragon Age Origins, then absolutely do so. Purchase the game, and when you purchase it, get it as the sort of top tier edition with all the DLC, because they did release a lot of DLC, which was then at a later stage released as Awakening. And I just love that game. It's so it's a bit like Mass Effect in terms of its concepts, but you are being brought into this sort of ancient world, and you have all these kings and all these enemies and all the beasts to fight with your team of 3. The only downside is that, unlike in Anthem, you cannot be bringing in your friends to play one of those team members. It's automated, and you play just one character. but still very, very enjoyable. And what I particularly liked was that compared to Mass Effect, Dragon Age was providing us with a lot more humorous content, so lots of funny, witty comments and jokes thrown at you, and lots of interesting bits of gameplay. And generally there were some characters who were also very, very humorous, and definitely a game for many, many hours of very enjoyable gameplay. So most highly recommended to everyone, and particularly due to the fact that recently you were able to buy Dragon Age Inquisition, which is the third installment, and you could get it on the Game of the Year edition for PlayStation Store on a very, very low price of £6. And Game of the Year edition on £6 was a terrific buy, and I really can't wait to see the next installment of Dragon Age, which obviously is presently at its very initial stages of production, obviously done by BioWare as well. Coming back to my earlier points, feedback, comments and views, please do make your Twitter postings or go to Reddit and then access that section there, which is created for your feedback by BioWare, and do provide all of your thoughts and views to the BioWare team. They will be very, very interested to hear everything you have to say. And I just like, I'd like to ask everyone to focus on the both sides. So I'll ask people not to be writing just about technical problems. Of course, if you were not able to get into the demo at all, well, that's obviously of great concern, and you need to state that quite clearly. I bought the game and pre-ordered the top tier edition, Legion of Dawn, and principally I couldn't even get in. I know that Xbox was more affected than PS4 and PC with the game access, because I've seen people coming in on Sunday saying we still can't get in, and I'm not sure what the problems were, but if you are one of those guys, then definitely speak up and tell them that you principally couldn't get in, and ask for some compensation, ask for something that can be given to you, as goodwill gesture for your patience, for your efforts, for your investment. And I'm sure that BioWare will be very keen on doing this. In fact, if you feel that you wish to keep your thoughts to yourself, well, put it this way, if you feel that you do not want your thoughts to be visible in a public forum like Reddit or Twitter, meaning that other people can read them, then what you can do is you can direct your messages to one of the team leaders by email, right? So you can write to BioWare directly, but make sure that you label your email with the name of the person concerned. It's very important, because if you're just writing it to BioWare.com, then it will be picked up, but you want the relevant person to be responding. Specifically, if your concern is about an issue which perhaps is connected to the game design or playability, or something you experienced with your character, or if it is suit related, javelin suit related, write to the correct person who is basically on that team dealing with those issues, and they will be glad to respond. Today we have the means to do that. I mean, I can tell you that 10 years ago, when Twitter started, I personally could not believe how easy it was to get hold of certain people, because it was almost like having their mobile phone. You're texting somebody and they know that it's yourself who's corresponding with them, and they get back to you straight away, and they had no concerns about that being in public sphere. Some people would have asked for private messages if there was a particular matter that required confidentiality or something else, but it seemed incredible. And I think a lot of people do not use that opportunity. But please remain very truthful to the fact. Don't come up with ideas which are not relevant, or please do not write asking for a lot if, for instance, you feel that certain issues were persisting. You have to leave it open for the other party to offer something in terms of compensation, or in terms of something which is going to be satisfactory for you. And I think if we do not speak up, then our voices are not heard. That's just simply my viewpoint. To do with Anthem and to do with everything else, you have to fight for your consumers' right. It might sound very simple, but you've got to do it, and you've got to persist if you feel you're not getting responses which are as relevant, or if you want to be, getting some specific answers, then you have to pursue them. You can't be just initiating the conversation and then just forgetting about it, that sort of thing. And if you're not getting responses, then even more so, you need to be persisting even more, writing more and contacting more and trying to speak to relevant people and all of that. I certainly think that any of the major game developers will be very concerned if they figured that after the first weekend of testing 20% of those pre-orders were cancelled. This is not what they want to see, and this is not what should happen. I mean, I really urge everyone not to do it. I know that people are very impatient, and we are living in, WhatsApp stroke, SMS message kind of era where people receive messages straight away. But just try to think, if your server, your phone operator was down, and somebody was texting you, and the operator server was down, the master wasn't working, there was a technical problem, no messages were sent, and you received the same message six hours later. Obviously it caused you problems, because you were worrying that something happened to the person, they're not responding. But these things can happen. Technical problems are basically a part and parcel of modern technology. Sadly, as we develop technology to the very advanced level, we get many more problems. It's just the way it is, and we just have to be a bit patient. Infinity UK is here. Hello Infinity UK, how are you doing? Good to see you, and thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you for being obviously a part of our community. Infinity says, I know the game is definitely worth it. How much would the game cost when it's out real time? Well, I can tell you straight away, the base game costs £50, the special edition costs £80. So it's 50 or 80 if you're buying it on PlayStation Store. You can access it with ease. You can just simply go to PlayStation Store and click on Anthem, put Anthem in there on search, and then the search will give you those two editions. Basically, the base game is just like with all other games, and the special edition has some additional niceties thrown in, so extra skins, extra outfits, extra weapons. I'm not sure exactly, there's some extras which are in-game related. And then most importantly, the special edition is giving you the Founder Member banner. So if you are like our Destiny veterans, you will have the Founder Member banner attached to everything you do. It'll show straight away, and you'll know when you see somebody on the screen, they actually have been with this game right from the beginning. So that's quite good. Quite like the idea. And one of the reasons as to why I will be there from the word go, because I quite enjoy talking to my community members here who said, well, we were with Destiny since the beta testing days. And it's obviously great if one can see that straight away when you look at the character. They have something which tells you, well, they've been there since the very early times. So coming back to your question, 50 or 80 pounds. 50 pounds for the base game, and 80 pounds for the Legion of Dawn. In fact, I will just double check because I don't want to be misleading, but I've looked at it because sometimes prices are variable as well, but I think that what I've seen was absolutely in order. So just bear with me, I'll tell you, because I'm not providing litigious information. You get back to me and say, you told me it was so expensive, didn't buy it, but I actually could have had it on special offer. No special offers on the game at the moment, so. Infinity UK says, by the way, the whole game detail and textures are all great looking. I'd actually go even further than that. I would say they're astonishing. If you are playing the game on PlayStation Pro console and on 4K TV, it's jaw-dropping. Honestly, it's just simply second to none. The characters are so alive, the environment is so immersive, the sound is very, very articulate, precise. You can hear every single bit happening around you, and it's just the best possible for anyone who likes graphic novels, and for everyone who is in awe of good graphic design or beautiful, you know, graphic novel posters, you will love Anthem. It has it all. Infinity UK says, so far I know that from the trailer. Well, the trailer is very close to what you see, but if you are watching it on your phone, or if you're watching it on, you know, your other Android devices like tablets, it will be excellent. But when you watch the gameplay on one of those top-notch consoles or top-rig, you know, PC-wise, it's much better, you know. And Infinity UK says, too bad I have a Slim with a HD 1080 TV. Well, it's not bad, you know. Having a Slim PS4 is great because the processor is top-notch. It's not as good as obviously on PlayStation Pro, but still very good. And also 1080 TV is sufficient. So just to put it crisply, when you have very high quality graphics coming to a 1080 TV, the picture will be astounding, you know. Obviously having 4K TV will elevate it to a degree, but then the question is, do you want to be always watching something which is of such high resolution? What's important is that the base graphics are incredible, you know, so that makes a very, very big difference. Yeah, bear with me, I'm just looking at the PlayStation app, and yeah, Legion of Dawn, £80, right? The Legion of Dawn is £80, just like I said. And then standard edition is £60. So I got it wrong. It's not 50, it is 60. You know? 60. So the difference is about £20. To be precise, £59.99 and £79.99, 1 pence short, right? So the standard edition of Anthem is £60, and the special edition Legion of Dawn is £80. Personally, I would go for Legion of Dawn, and there is a reason for that. I'll tell you exactly what you'll get. Legion of Dawn edition is giving you several special niceties. So if you are pre-ordering Legion of Dawn, but that's just for the pre-order, remember this, it's just for pre-order. If you buy it after its release date, these 3 bits will not be included. So remember that. So the first thing is Founders Player Banner. So anyone pre-ordered Legion of Dawn will be getting Founders Player Banner. We already had VIP access to pre-launch demos, right? So we already had enjoyed that. I'm one of those guys. And Anthem theme is the 3rd bit which we are getting with it, right? And you know how nice it is when you have your Anthem theme installed on your console or on, you know, on your piece. It comes with music and nice graphics and beautiful wallpaper, maybe several images. So it's absolutely terrific. And then you feel really rewarded for that, you know, pre-order, because you have it from day one. But then in addition to that, so anybody else buying Legion of Dawn edition who's not pre-ordering, so just make this distinction clear, right? So anyone who's buying it after the game's been released, right? What you'll get is, so these are the extras with the special edition. You get the complete set of Legion of Dawn armor packs. So you get 4 of those armor packs. You get legendary weapon, 1. You get javelin gear attachment, 1. And you get digital soundtrack. So, you know, quite useful. People who are collectors of film and, you know, game soundtracks will be obviously very happy because they'll get the entire soundtrack there. And, you know, so really you have 6 different bits which come together with this special edition if you pre-ordered, or indeed if you purchased it after its release date. So put this way, 6 items you will get if you pre-order, 3 items you will get if you buy after its release date, and that's for Legion of Dawn edition. Let me see, Dominican Star is here. Hello Dominican Star, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming, for watching my channel. Thank you for being a member of our community. Dominican Star says we need PvP soon and new Titan, new monsters, and upgrade Chows. And Dominican Star says if only he added more fixed gun shooting, the game is epic. The only last option it doesn't. Which last option? Dominican Star says that the game's epic, but the last option is ruining it. I'm not sure what the last option is. The one I read out, the soundtrack, or which one? Great to see new members coming in. Thank you guys for coming, because obviously this is not my regular gameplay broadcast. It's focused on reviewing our demo and reviewing what we've done during the weekend, as well as providing you with the opportunity to do Q&A. The reason is very simple. I take all the comments very seriously, and as obviously I communicate to the game developers, then I can communicate what the feedback was from the community members. And as I said, I was very pleased to see that the feedback I provided to BioWare was picked up already within an hour of its being released, and I think that is amazing. That really is showing how attentive the team is and how interested they are in what people have to say. And Blind Shooter is here as well. Blind Shooter, hello, how are you doing? Good to see you here. Thank you for joining our community. Thank you for being here, and thank you for perhaps coming into the new Anthem community, which is obviously being built as we speak. Blind Shooter says, on Friday, new demo to download or just update to VIP demo. It is my understanding that we do not need to do anything at all. If we downloaded the demo already and played it in the weekend, we'll have immediate access. So there's nothing for you to do. If they are introducing some unlocks, such as Javelin suits or any other, then that will automatically update once you log in for the first time. So principally, all of us that downloaded this demo already on last Wednesday will have nothing else to do but just to log in and then crack on with the game on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, after the midday, they said. But it's possible that they'll start even earlier because people are so unhappy with all kinds of problems. It's maybe possible, if they want to provide concessions to people, that they'll even allow it earlier than that, but we have to wait for some news from BioWare first before speculating. Dominican Star says, no soundtrack, just the action play. I want to mention that if they add more weapons will be great. And I agree, but I just want to say that I guess Dominican Star, you actually played the demo and you've noticed that we couldn't really use the weapons. We had 2 weapons allocated, and we could see, like in the vault, lots of different weapons, and elsewhere also that loot we collected we couldn't use. So I guess that's the reference to that. I think it's unlikely that they will be unlocking some of that for the open demo. I think this is what we are going to get once we start playing the full game. The unlocks may be, hard for me to tell. BioWare obviously are the best people to answer the question, but I think it's unlikely that they will be unlocking the vault or anything else, because if they do that, it may be putting a lot more stress on the servers, and they had lots of problems this weekend already. Don't know what caused the problems. They said it was not server related. Blind Shooter is asking, is the open demo going to start 12 o'clock PM Eastern? I'm not 100% sure, sir, but I'm in the UK, and they did state some of the times on the official forums for Anthem, but I know that these times will be kind of variable. It's probably the best if one checks on Friday, on Thursday, to find out exactly what's going to be happening, because there's been a lot of pressure coming from the community on the first weekend for the VIP demo to be greatly extended, because lots of people couldn't get into the game before Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, so they lost already almost 2 days of gameplay, and therefore I think BioWare are likely to be you know, making certain concessions. I think midday UK time, but that will have to be confirmed. I mean, I can have a look at the timing which is stated presently, but I'm just telling you, the timing may not be as fixed as it appears to be on paper. It may be variable, because they will be switching on service earlier, and you know, it depends on what platform you're on, and so it's definitely worth keeping that in mind. Just bear with us, I'll get the exact timing for you. Just bear with us, I'm just getting the exact timings, because Blind Shooter was asking me about those exact times, so just bear with us, I'll get the exact times for you. Blind Shooter, are you in the US? I take it you are, because you're asking in Eastern or Pacific. So principally, what is stated is Anthem open demo start date and end date is basically Friday the February the 1st to Sunday February the 3rd are going to be exactly the same as they were for the VIP demo. So they said in the UK this is going to be 5 o'clock PM. In Europe it will be 6 o'clock PM. East Coast US 12 PM and West Coast US 9 o'clock AM. So coming back to your question, the demo will start on Friday, 5 o'clock PM UK time, 6 o'clock PM European time, Central European time, 12 o'clock PM, so this is noon, East Coast US, and 9 AM, like early in the morning, West Coast US. Yeah. So that's basically the timings. I'll repeat again. 5 o'clock PM UK, 6 o'clock PM Europe, 12 PM East Coast US, 9 AM West Coast US. So I guess if you are on the West Coast, then you'll be able to access it already from 9 o'clock AM, just, you know, when you wake up. And if you're on the East Coast, that will be literally noon. We have another question coming in from Dominican Star. He said, let's hope something will update by summer. Well, they did say during the world premiere through IGN on Thursday that the first thing which will be happening with Anthem is cross-platform play. So that's the first thing. That is going to be the first update, right? Cross-platform play is the first big thing for Anthem. He didn't say, the producer, when this is to occur, but he said fairly close to the launch date. So we are probably talking about 4 to 6 weeks, roughly. That'd be my estimate. So that's the first update. It's already been confirmed, right? And it's not just like an assumption. He did speak live on air. I did, you know, I watched him, and he said that this is the first big thing. And Dominican Star says, I want the story to be long and a new challenge co-op. And yeah, I think you have no worries in there. As you know, if you played Mass Effect or Dragon Age, or if you played the other games of BioWare, you will remember then that they are really focused on story missions, and they have an enormous number of quests and sub-quests generally. So it is very likely that Anthem will be very similar. I think the flavor I had from the demo was that we'll have the same quantity of dialogue in terms of the content, but the options offered when you talk to characters will be different. We will not have that many options as we would have had in Mass Effect, meaning the options are going to be kind of downsized. Well, if they keep it the same way, that's the way it looked in the demo, but you know, we'll have to see what the game brings. And then you said also you wanted to have a new challenge co-op, and that, well, keep in mind that the multiplayer of Anthem is a big challenge for BioWare. They're not really a company known for multiplayers, so they will be very closely monitoring everything, you know, from the community responses to how it works on the technical front. We could see that the demo backfired, but it doesn't mean that the actual game will backfire in the same fashion. There could be other problems or no problems, we'll have to see. And they will be almost certainly listening to the community and their responses to the multiplayer and all the community is requesting. So if you think you want to be playing co-op, meaning in a team of 2, then you need to write to BioWare, write to Casey Hudson, to Mark Dara, or to Sila Costa, right? Remember, Casey Hudson, Mark Dara, or Sila Costa. Those are 3 most important people, related to this project. Sila Costa is the lead producer, Mark Dara is the director, and the Casey Hudson is the overall manager of the project. So if you are interested in that, just direct your tweets or write email messages directed to them and ask them, I want to have that co-op, it would be really great, we want to enhance this and that, so it needs to be directed. Obviously I will feedback some of the stuff said today as well, but it's, if you make your kind of personalized request, it will have obviously a lot of weight basically. And Blind Shooter says, friend and I already broke the ceiling barrier in demo. So Blind Shooter, I take it that you had completed all missions. You basically came to level 15 and you collected all the loot, you got all the experience points, you did everything. May I just ask you, Blind Shooter, what platform did you play it on? And did you have any technical issues? I'm quite interested to hear. So the question is for Blind Shooter. What platform did you play it on, and did you have any technical issues? Dominican Star says, open world is amazing. Yeah, absolutely. It's just really astonishing, the number of places you can go to, the areas you can explore, as well as the detail and everything else. It's just really beautiful. And Blind Shooter said they completed this out of the map. So you've done... Yeah, I have actually several questions for Blind Shooter. First of all, I want to know what platform you won. Blind Shooter, right? Tell me what platform you won. Secondly, did you have any technical problems, right? And thirdly, did you have also the option for free play? You know, when you can just literally roaming around when you're not mission related, because I couldn't access that on mine. It wasn't enabled at all. And I wonder what your experience of that was. Dominican Star says, if anyone can send them a message to EA, well, you can be sending messages to Electronic Arts, but don't forget Electronic Arts are the publisher, and it's always the best if you're contacting the game developer, people who are consistently and actively still working on the game and producing new content. So my better bet, or my best bet, would be contacting BioWare and not Electronic Arts. I think Electronic Arts are likely to be more in tune with anything which is purchase, stroke distribution related, but the ins and outs of the game creation is not really what they are likely to be best responding, Yay boy Nasaris is here. Hello, how are you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for being a member of our community. We are running a feedback Q&A session here on Anthem and the demo, which we all enjoyed and played during the weekend, although it was marred, plagued by technical difficulties. We are really analyzing it and talking about it in real time. The reason for that is very simple. I'm collecting opinions, views and experiences from my community members and also from everyone who comes to the channel, and then I'm forwarding that information to the game developer BioWare, so that they could be fully in sync with all of those ins and outs of whatever was experienced. They need to know that. It will help them to resolve all these issues before the game is released, and it will obviously provide them with the direction that the community is taking, and that's very important. I think generally my feeling was that the new Anthem community was very pleased with what they experienced for the gameplay, but very displeased with the technical with selection of technical difficulties, right? And if you are to be looking, you know, at all these comments left on Twitter, which were both for Anthem and BioWare, you will see that they were divided into two sections. One lot was specifically focusing on the problems on the technical front, and then the other was focusing on the gameplay. Is Blind Shooter still here? I'm quite curious, Blind Shooter. What platform did you play? What platform did you play Anthem on? And what were the technical issues you experienced? Because obviously, if you were able to break the ceiling and do all the issues, all the tasks on the map, it means that you had plain sailing. You had hardly any technical issues. I couldn't complete because the glitches were preventing me from accessing certain areas. And for instance, for the Stronghold mission, I couldn't use the map. The map was dead. And there's this option. What's it called? Is it called free play or free roaming? You know, free something, which is not mission related. You can go and explore everything which is out in the wild. That option didn't work for me. I couldn't activate it, so I couldn't try it. Good to see Yabon Series here as well. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate that you're here and appreciate that you're joining our Anthem community. I'd like to also direct everyone, all of our listeners and all of our community members, to my Twitter. On my Twitter I have about 40, roughly 40 postings which are Anthem related, and they're specifically my gameplay related. So everything I've done during the VIP demo testing is there. You have a selection of screenshots, various kind of things I was doing and areas I visited, and then you have about 10 different mini videos of the gameplay. The best of which is this attack in Stronghold on Swamp Tyrant, so that's a quite good one. Unfortunately, whilst I was making those clips, the mission with Swamp Tyrant was discontinued before we managed to kill it, and you know, the enemy was just about to die and then the game crashed. So I didn't have the final of, you know, that defeat. But I did complete Stronghold, I think about 3 or 4 times. Completed it once, I think all 4 times were on Ranger suit. I was trying my Ranger Javelin, and then I wanted to do the same with my Storm, but on my Storm Javelin, every single time it came to, you know, the end of that mission, basically the Swamp Tyrant was about to be killed, and then the game crashed. Therefore I couldn't have it on that video clip. Dominican Star is asking, do you think Anthem will not last long? I do not think that. I think Anthem is likely to be a game with massive longevity and a game that is going to be with us for many years to come. That certainly is the task and the intention coming out of BioWare, and the initial responses, particularly during the first couple of weeks, will determine the level of investment. But I would be very surprised, for instance, if the sales were not particularly good during the first couple of weeks, that BioWare would simply pull the plug. This is a game far too big, with, you know, literally every single member of the team involved already on the game for the last 7 years, and you know, the game's been in making for more than 7 years, because the ideas already were kind of filtering out during the Mass Effect 2 days, and then they really began to work in earnest after Mass Effect 3, and they worked really hard in order to build everything from scratch. And it did have several shapes and forms so far, and the original code for this game was Dylan. So if you hear of Dylan through BioWare postings which are kind of describing the project, then Dylan is actually Anthem. Anthem, the title was only, I think, embraced about a year ago or so. When the game was fully introduced, you know, then they said, well, Anthem is going to be the title. Dominican Star says, I pre-ordered, but I can play it free anytime. Yeah, you pre-ordered, and then once you obviously download it, once the game is released, you'll be able to play it anytime. And I hope certainly that you will. I hope you will be a member of our community. And Dominican Star says, I'm sorry if this game gets 5 out of 9 star. EA, goodbye. No, no. It's very unlikely. It is very unlikely that the game would be so seriously underscoring. From what I've seen so far, I'd be very surprised. And I tell you one thing which is very important. A lot of the industry insiders were saying that Anthem is likely to be very similar or like a rip-off of Destiny, right? So obviously, being a Destiny gamer myself, I've already streamed Destiny for more than 300 hours here on Twitch. I can tell you that this is absolutely unlikely and simply is not going to happen. So just consider, if everybody was trying to convince the markets that this game was going to be very similar to Destiny, and people go in and play it and they say this has got nothing to do with Destiny whatsoever, it's not similar at all, then that will also swing the market. There will be lots of new people coming in. First of all the people who love Destiny will come in because this is a game that can be actually played alongside, and it is a different kind of game. And second, you get new people coming in out of curiosity. So no, I don't think there's a chance for 5 out of 5, you know. So it's likely to be like the top marks. IGN, GameSpot and all the others will give it very, very high marks. I've read lots of pre-release reviews, and as you know, there were quite a few guys from the major online video gaming magazines who actually played already the game. Not the whole game, but some sections of it, because they were given the preview access. And they all said that the game was literally jaw-dropping. But then at the same time, you know, these are the critics, these are the people who are writing for the online magazines. Whether the community is going to embrace the game, you know, we'll know after the game is released. And in fact, it reminds me of, you know, any kind of general election. You have all kinds of polls coming out and, you know, predicaments. The general election is going to turn out this way, and that many people vote for this, etc. But the actual poll you need to know, the one you need to worry about, is the one after midnight on the actual election date, when the voting, you know, the ballot boxes are being looked at, and when, you know, the actual votes are counted. Then you will know. And with these video game releases, it's exactly the same. I mean, who could predict that Red Dead Redemption 2 will make in 3 days $750 million? Not $1 million, $750 million, which has superseded any major Hollywood release in history. Can you imagine that? One game superseding any major Hollywood release in history in 3 days. It's phenomenal. Nobody could predict that. But the stats are collected during that weekend. We'll know after that first weekend what the responses are. And really, the BioWare team needs to work very, very hard to resolve these technical issues, because people will complain immediately, you know, when it comes to the release date. Everything pre-release is digested, it's bearable. But after its release, if these problems or any of these problems are persisting, major trouble. But I don't really think that's going to be the case. That's certainly my opinion. Dominican Star says it does feel a bit like Gundam Halo. Well, not sure. Not sure. From what I played so far, I would say no. I didn't really. I mean, I played Halo literally from the word go on Xbox Original, and you know, when it came out. The only similarity with Halo is with the idea that you're entering this open world and you're doing discoveries, you know? So that's the similarity. That's similar to Destiny, that's similar to Fallout, that's similar to Dragon Age, to Skyrim. But the actual gameplay, don't forget, Halo had a different style of graphics, and the graphics in these sci-fi open world games are very important because they will draw you either to a world which is very much graphic novel related, or the other, which is very kind of ultra realistic. So think of Borderlands, think of Destiny, they're very much inclined towards graphic novels, you know, the way they visually work. And when you think of games like Quantic Dream games, you know, Detroit Becoming Human, Heavy Rain, what's the other one? Beyond Two Souls. If you think of, you know, Mass Effect, the last one, these are more inclined towards hyperrealism. So I think the experience of the game, how you enter and what you do, will be also very connected to that. That's my personal view. I like, obviously, both of those worlds. I like some of the games to be looking like a graphic novel, the others I like to be ultra realistic. You know, it all depends on the gameplay and depends on how I feel about that world. I tell you one thing which is critical in here, okay? And we didn't touch on that at all so far. One thing which is critical in here is whether, as we play Anthem, we are going to be feeling for our characters in the same fashion as we've done in Mass Effect. Well, that's critical. That really will be the main thing swinging the people in the community. Do you know what I mean? Because really, when you look at it, the first game I played where I really nearly cried, where I really felt for not one but several characters, was Mass Effect 2. They were able to draw that degree of emotion to the gameplay, you know, for the story missions, through everything, where you really felt, if there was serious danger to your main character, you literally, you know, jump up in the air and scream, saying, "Don't go there," that sort of thing. Well, if they manage to repeat that, or even intensify it, then Anthem is going to be a massive success, and I think there is a potential for that. We didn't get any tasters of this in the demo, but I've seen there are lots of different characters, and then the question is how you're bonding with them and what's happening to them, what, you know, what their futures and what destinies are. That's where the game is going to be then really beginning to click. Well, you know, the gaming industry is progressing down that route. I think the RPGs that do not have that element of identification with one of the characters or maybe section of that world will fail. Simply. So, you know, they will fail, because if you have the games that are setting the standards for that and other people are obviously playing them, as you know, serious gamers today, they pre-order, they play many different games, and you know, the gaming world had replaced the old style collection of DVDs and television series and videos and all these other things that people were collecting over many months and years. Today it's instant access and you're just collecting it on the server. You have all these games in there. When I look at my collection of games, it's astonishing. Lots of games I've not even played, but they're just sitting there on my shelf, which is on the server, and I can access them at any time, you know? And that's literally spread out across platforms. On PC I have very many on Steam and GOG. Then I have many on Xbox and many on PlayStation. In fact, the PlayStation games are my latest acquisition. Although I've been playing games on the PlayStation literally from the beginning. But when it comes to the actual collection at the moment, which I'm using, that's all on the PlayStation server. All the games are there. Obviously I have loads of those on physical products and ones which the PS3, PS2, the original, etc. But it's much easier. We can just access them, you know, by one platform, and they're really working hard on that. And they did remaster quite a number, you know, such as Silent Hill, and now we have Resident Evil 2 remake and all these other bits, and many other games. Obviously, if you're a member of PlayStation Now, then you can access many more games as well, old and new, and all of them are really brilliant. I did revisit some of the old games, and they've been remastered. They look terrific. They look better than ever before, you know. And Dominican Star says people play it for fun, and some people said some people will be bored. Well, you know, there's like different games for different people. You get people who are absolutely in awe of shooters. And when it comes to shooters, you have maybe 3 different streams. One is a tactical shooter. You have to come up with a strategy and you need to be working on it, and you need to do it maybe in a team. And the other is simply shooting, collecting scores, right? And then the third one is a shooter that also has some sort of story attached to it, with an RPG element. So it's 3 different types. I guess, depending on preference. People who like simply plain shooting will not be in awe of the RPG stroke shooter, you know? And Dominican Star is asking, do you have Twitter? Yes, I do. The easiest way to find my Twitter is on Twitch. Go to my profile, which is my Twitch channel, and you go to the section called Info, Information. Click on that section, and there you have banners for Facebook, for Twitter, for Steam, for YouTube, for each one of those. So just confirm that you found them. Just click on that banner on my info section, which you see on my channel, and you'll be accessing then my Twitter instantly. Otherwise, I'll put it down here for you. If you go to Twitter, the Twitter address is this one. So it's game without E at the end, because I couldn't cram in gaming. Twitter did not allow me to put ing in there, so it's just that. And obviously, if you access my Twitter, sir, Dominican Star, you are going to be able to see all these videos which are gameplay, and also you'll be able to get the screenshots. And I also need to say that presently I am running a campaign, which is basically my Anthem donor campaign, and I've had some donations already, so anybody watching, I would ask you to have a look at that if possible. And if you're interested in both supporting this channel and my future Anthem streams, as you know, Anthem is going to be the mainstream here on this channel when it comes out, and presently it's Destiny, and we'll play Anthem and Destiny consecutively, which means on some days we'll have Anthem streams literally as the central section, which is likely to be in the evening, and then our Destiny streams will be carried on during the day or in the morning. And if you are interested in supporting both my Anthem streams as well as our new Anthem community, then you can donate. And it's again very easy. You just go on my Twitch channel, and you just click on the banner that says donate, and then you can donate, you know. Or if you wish to support it through the use of bits and cheers, you can do that as well. So simply use bits and cheers, and I get these donations instantly. But also donating is done exclusively through Streamlabs, and they're one of the best and the safest companies providing that facility, and I use them extensively. So anyone who wants to support the channel, wants to support the Anthem streams, anyone who wants to support anything Anthem related and also related to this channel, then you can just simply click and donate, and then that's nice and easy. And I can certainly say that I've had a lot of interest for Anthem streams, and the interest would have come in through this channel, then on Twitch, and then on Instagram and Twitter. Had lots and lots of people coming in and joining and expressing support. In fact, as we are discussing it, I can tell you exactly who these guys are, and I will read them out for you. It is going to be interesting. Motavi is one of those. He really liked my posting, which was providing Bioware with feedback. Anthem Gaming Community. This is an independent community which is dedicated to Anthem. It has nothing to do with Bioware or EA. And I also advise you to follow them. They have lots of followers. They're based in Holland, or as we say in Britain, in the Netherlands. They're called Anthem Gaming Community. Anthem Gameplay is the tag, at Anthem Gameplay on Twitter. They are a great supporter of my channel, and they are a great supporter of my campaign. So they are both liking and supporting my campaign. Then I had Sila Costa. Sila Costa is the lead producer of Anthem. He also worked on Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3, on Dragon Age Inquisition, and on Mass Effect Andromeda. So he literally is one of the top guys. Sila Costa was doing the world premiere on IGN of the demo on Thursday. So Sila Costa liked my feedback, and he got back to me with the indication of appreciation literally within moments after the feedback was posted. So very, very grateful to BioWare team to be supporting indeed my feedback and paying attention to it, obviously reading it and responding to it, which is literally wonderful. Then we had other people following, which is NextDLV and then Stevie O. We had Eric Polly and Molly Games who supported the campaign. We have Robin Signs as well supporting the campaign and also the Epi demo gameplay. Negaboo supporting the campaign. Lilithy also supporting the campaign. And we have quite a great number. Twitch community is another forum which is supporting both my channel and the campaign, and frequently they are retweeting my postings and announcements through the portal and making sure that my channel and Anthem campaign is receiving extra exposure. Susie Whittle, Derp Writers, Development Heads and Arthur, all of them supporting the campaign. Miss Alley Cat, and there's some other guys as well, let's see who they are. Kate's Queen and Wee's Base. So it's Miss Alley Cat, Kate's Queen and Wee's Base, all of them are supporting the campaign. So these are the guys on Twitter, right? And Dominican Star is demo on Friday. Absolutely, I'm very excited about the demo on Friday. Really look forward to it. I really had a lot of fun during the gameplay on this weekend, and I'm really really kind of looking forward to it. And I think with the open demo, we'll have many more people coming, and hopefully, if everything works out on technical front, we'll have literally a wonderful weekend of gaming and fantastic experience of this demo, and also the best possible introduction to the game. And Dominican Star is asking, I'm just looking on Twitter, and Dominican Star and is asking whether Twitter is Daniel Miller. No, I have other portals which will have DRBMiller and similar. But what you need to do is go on Twitter, and when you're on Twitter, what you need to do is you need to put this address in there. So I put www.twitter.com, right? Have that, and then backslash, and then put Daniel Miller Game. Right? So put this one, I'll put it here on Twitch, and just copy and paste and put it in there, and you'll get it straight away. There. If you see that, yeah? So that's the address, the Twitter address. So you need to put that after the www.twitter.com/Daniel Miller Game. Right? If you are using it on your browser on your phone, but if you are using it on the Twitch app, then you need to go to Information tab. So you come to my channel, you go to Information tab. When you click on Information tab, you will get banners, and each banner is related to one of the entities dedicated to this channel. So that's Facebook, that's Steam, that's YouTube, that's Twitter. Right? When you click on a banner, you connect automatically. So it's very easy. You could see it says there, join me on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. And it says Daniel Miller Gaming Channel. So you go to Daniel Miller Gaming Channel, which is the channel you're watching, and then you click on the banner. Click on the tab saying Information, and then when you click on Information, you go to the banners, and then that's all. You can click on it, and did you find it? Let me know if you did. Because once you find the my Twitter profile, then you'll be able to see all the screenshots and the gameplay videos which are there. I'm actually quite curious myself now. I'll have a look, but before I do that, I'll just have a look also. I'll look on Instagram, because Instagram also has postings, and Instagram's been very well supported by many people who are supporting my channel and indeed my campaign. So let's have a look who these guys are. So we've got on Instagram Champion Suit, we have Lady Rand Eye, we have Obelisk, Mr. Salam, Henry Retreat, Freakin' Recon TV, we have Newbie Gaming's Dealer Gaff Limited, Killary, we have Watermelon. All of them are supporting my Destiny campaign. Then we have Saint Warhead, Marshmallow Hobo, Serenity for Victory, It's Mr. Grippen, Newbie Game Designs, Nightlook Art, Dilligaff Ltd, Matthew Obian, Killary, Copwatch, and Janelle Amy. All of them are supporting my Anthem campaign. So that's wonderful. Thank you guys for supporting it. And we have then some new followers in there. All of them are supporting the campaign as well. So that is Champions Consulting, Lady Run I, Kevin Collard, SYG Art, Riley Nelson, Nicoli Anzuto, Gretchen, Yin Yang, Hot Trash, Eliona, Snowbound, Zoyo, Game of Cats, Boy for These, and Con Life. All these guys are supporting my Anthem campaign. So thank you guys for that. Killary 96, Sebsark and Obelisk as well. They've been supporting campaign as well. So as you could see, lots of people indeed. And I thank also Dominican Star 7 and Infinity UK for following me on Twitch, being our new community members. Very grateful for that. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for coming and for joining our community. I hope you're going to be enjoying your stay here, and indeed participation from all of the community members. As I always say, we have many Destiny veterans coming into this channel, so you'll hear lots of discussion on Destiny and Bungie related, and also everything which is related to our beloved video gaming industry. And you'll be able to team up with other guys, make new friendships, and in addition to that, you'll be able to join both my own gameplay once I'm streaming, and you'll be able to connect with other guys doing raids and strikes on Destiny as well. And that is for Destiny 1, Destiny 2, for Destiny Forsaken, and also for those people who are on the annual pass doing the seasons. Season of the Forge currently ongoing, and then there'll be the season of the Joker. And so that's really quite interesting what is to come still from Bungie and Destiny 2. And our community is alive, vibrant and growing, and indeed we always connect every day on those issues which are video gaming related. So we've seen all of those guys on Instagram and on Twitter, and we could see that my Anthem campaign is well supported. I'm very grateful to all of you. And obviously you may ask, well, how can we support your campaign? Well, there are many different ways in which my campaign can be supported. First of all, by being here, you're already supporting it. By communicating with other community members here through Twitch or other forums, you are supporting it. If you are, for instance, on Twitter, and if you see some of the postings of mine which you like, if you like and retweet, or indeed if you copy and paste and post to your Twitter, you are already supporting me and my channel. if you are on Instagram, if you are liking and providing some comments, you are supporting the campaign. And then obviously if you're on Twitch and then using bits and cheers, you are definitely supporting both myself, my channel, my campaign, and all other Twitch online entrepreneurs. So these are all the ways to which you can support both me and the channel, and also other online entrepreneurs. Remember, online gaming and streaming is all about connectivity and communication. Two things which are fundamental. Video gaming and streaming brings people together from worldwide. I get people literally from all over the world coming here to this channel, discussing video games, talking about the interesting video gaming related issues, and then making new friends, communicating, teaming up, and providing a lot of interesting content. We have people from South Africa, from New Zealand, from Australia, from Russia, from Norway, from Sweden, from Denmark, from the US, from the United Kingdom, from Germany, from the Netherlands, from Spain, from Portugal, from Croatia, from Slovenia, Austria, Hungary, Czech Republic, Greece, Malta, Turkey, all those countries, you know. Dominican Star says thanks. Well, thank you, sir, for coming and for joining. Really appreciate it. And also, if you join me on Twitter, you'll be able to receive regular news, and the news are on everything video gaming related. So that is first and foremost to do with our community members. Secondly, to do with everything in the know which is coming from the developers. So these are the daily video game industry related news, and they're all coming from the main online magazines such as IGN.com, GameSpot, Game Informer, all the other ones. And you get literally, you know, freshly hot off the press news coming in to my Twitter. Then we have news coming from other associates. These are other Twitch online streamers and people who are supporting my channel and sometimes playing games together with me online. And obviously lots of those who are new personally, and people who are my online contacts. All of them are basically the members of our Twitch online entrepreneur community. So I single out a number whom I really fully support because I consider their content to be of very high quality, and I consider them to be people of very good standing. And then you get also some messages coming from our Twitch community members who are providing us with comments and views on our current gaming, and those who are wanting to find partners for co-op and multiplayer team membership. So lots of different content. My Twitter is very, very busy, very vibrant, with lots of communication and interactivity, as well as Instagram, as well as Twitch. Facebook, I have to say, has not been as busy. The reason is very simple. I do not post on my Facebook page frequently. Facebook, which I have for this channel, is basically a bit like a small encyclopedia of facts and pictures related to my current games. So it is literally used as a kind of a library, similar to what we've seen in Anthem during the weekend, where you want to get further knowledge on, let's say, Destiny or Heavy Rain or any of the games which we currently stream here. Destiny 2, Grim Fandango, Primal, Bloodborne, Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls Online, Red Dead Redemption, you know, lots of different games. Dominican Star says he's following me on Twitter. Well, thank you very much, sir, for following me on Twitter as well. Hope you will find some of that content of interest. Dominican Star says Twitter is better. I really don't use those others. Well, yeah, Twitter is by far the best for direct communication with any source, because when you are tagging different postings, they're being seen instantly, but communicate with ease literally on any platform. You know, see, it's used primarily on Android devices. People use Twitter on their phones and tablets, and I get messages coming in at all times. And that's not just on this channel. I have other portals which are music industry and film industry related. So altogether, that Twitter gets all very, very busy on all fronts. And presently, my time is dedicated to this channel. This is a new project. I've been running it already for about 4 or 5 months, and it's been exceptionally successful. Very grateful to you all, the community members, for your participation and communication and everything else. Really been absolutely outstanding. And I started the channel as an experiment, and literally within the first couple of weeks it turned out to be fully functional, with lots of interesting content and many great participants coming in and contributing. So really very, very grateful to all for that. Alright, my friends, so we are coming to the end of our review, feedback and our Q&A session. We've had it now for a couple of hours. I had quite a lot of different comments and views coming in. We've not been as busy as yesterday, I have to say, but when I switched on my Anthem review yesterday, immediately had 50 people sitting there and wanting to talk, and I guess it was more to do with the weekend, the fact that everyone was still literally under that major impression from Sunday, and today we had fewer people coming in, and it's been a very, very interesting couple of hours. So I thank everybody for your participation and for your content and for your views and thoughts. I will feed back some of that to my contacts, and I'll hope that indeed they will take everything on board. I'm very grateful to the community members who are raising issues around microtransactions, people who were asking about cooperative play, about the overall multiplayer facility, about its duration of the game and the story missions. Thank you all for that. That will be obviously considered with great interest by those teams. And then I can just invite you for another Anthem broadcast and our brief review tomorrow night. We'll have again a couple of hours dedicated to Anthem news and feedback and Q&As and everything Anthem related. So hope you will join me then. It will be again around 6 o'clock in the afternoon UK time, so check it out, and hope to see you all there. If you have any other bits of news which obviously you would have heard during those 24 hours, then please feel free to speak up and to share everything with us. It will be greatly appreciated. And hope you enjoy the content, hope you enjoy discussing it with other community members. Hope first of all that you enjoyed playing Anthem demo, that you were able to log in and enjoy some of that open world experience. Indeed, I'm hoping that you are, like myself, very excited about next weekend as well. The next weekend will unravel before us very, very soon, and as we've heard, on Friday we are going to be able to engage with this wonderful, new, mysterious, atmospheric and deadly Anthem universe yet again. So, thank you very much for coming, thank you for participating, thank you for your attention given to all I said, and most importantly thank you for following and for supporting this channel, both with your likes, with your follows, with your donations, and most importantly with your contributions. Thank you for that, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I will continue now with my Destiny broadcast in 10 minutes, so if you're interested you can come in and participate. We have lots of Destiny veterans coming in every night, and I really look forward to that again as well. But as you can see, I'm preparing also for my Anthem broadcasts by providing you with a forum in which we can be discussing everything Anthem related as well. So thank you for coming, and please do come back in 5 minutes to this channel, or stay with the channel, stay where you are in fact, as I commence with my Destiny 1 broadcast. Thank you very much for coming, for listening, for being here, for supporting this channel, and I wish you all a very, very good night.